We are back with our storytelling. This is another short story from this book, Malgudi Days by R.K. Narayan. I've told you earlier, R.K. Narayan is a very interesting and very highly regarded and very vastly read storyteller from India, and he bases most of his stories in a small town in the south of India named Malgudi, which is a town created from his imagination. So this is another short story based here in Malgudi, and this is part of a collection of short stories titled Malgudi Days. This one starts reading. Though his beat covered Vinayak Mudali Street and its 4 parallel roads, it took him nearly 6 hours before he finished his round and returned to the head office in Market Road to deliver accounts. He allowed himself to get mixed up with the fortunes of the persons to whom he was carrying letters. At number 13 Kabir Street lived the man who had come halfway up the road to ask for a letter for so many years now. Tanappa had seen him as a youngster and had watched him day by day graying on the pier, sitting there and hoping for a big prize to come his way through solving crossword puzzles. No prize yet, he announced to him every day. But don't be disheartened. Your interest has been delayed this month somehow, he said to another. Your son at Hyderabad has returned again, madam. How many children has he now? I did not know that you had applied for this Madras job. You haven't cared to tell me. It doesn't matter. When I bring you your appointment order, you must feed me with coconut payasam, a sweet delicacy. And at each of these places, he stopped for nearly half an hour, especially if anyone received money orders. He just settled down quite nicely with his bags and bundles spread about him and would not rise till he gathered an idea of how and where every rupee was going. If it was a hot day, he sometimes asked for a tumbler of buttermilk and sat down to enjoy it. Everybody liked him on his beat. He was a part and parcel of their existence, their hopes, aspirations, and activities. He was the postman, the mailman. Of all his contacts, the one with which he was most intimately bound up was number 10 Vinayak Mudali Street. Ramanujam was a senior clerk in the Revenue Division office, and Tanappa had carried letters to that address for over a generation now. His earliest association with Ramanujam was years and years ago. Ramanujam's wife was away in the village. A card arrived for Ramanujam. Tanappa, as was his custom, glanced through it at the sorting table itself, and the moment they were ready to start out, he went straight to Vinayak Mudali Street, though in the ordinary course over 150 addresses preceded it. He went straight to Ramanujam's house, knocked on the door and shouted, "Postman, sir, postman." When Ramanujam opened it, he said, "Give me a handful of sugar before I give this card to you." Happy father, after all these years of prayers, don't complain that it is a daughter. Daughters are God's gift, you know. Kamakshi, lovely name. So this Tanappa had read all that thing on the postcard, and so he was announcing it to Ramanujam, whose wife has obviously delivered a baby girl, and the girl's name is Kamakshi. Newborn's name is Kamakshi. Kamakshi, he addressed the tall, bashful girl years later. Get your photo ready. Ah, so shy. Here is your grandfather's card asking for your photo. Why should he want it unless it be? The old gentleman writes rather frequently now, doesn't he, sir? He asked Ramanujam as he handed him his letter and waited for him to open the envelope to go through its contents. Ramanujam looked worried after reading it. The postman asked, I hope it is good news. He leaned against the veranda pillar with a stack of undelivered letters under his arm. Ramanujam said, my father-in-law thinks I am not sufficiently active in finding a husband for my daughter. He has tried one or two places and failed. He thinks I am very indifferent. Elderly people have their own anxiety, said the postman. The trouble is, said Ramanujam, that he has set apart 5,000 rupees for this girl's marriage and is worrying me to find a husband for her immediately. But money is not everything. No, said the postman. He echoed, unless the destined hour is at hand, nothing can help. Day after day, for months, Tanappa delivered the letters and waited to be told the news. Some old news. Tanappa, horoscopes do not agree. Same old news. Tanappa, horoscopes do not agree. They are demanding too much. Evidently, they do not approve of her appearance. Appearance? She looks like a queen, unless one is totally blind, the postman retorted angrily. The season would be closing with only 3 more auspicious dates, the last coming being on May 20. So this is in the south of India where the marriages are fixed according to, and the day of the marriage, the time of the marriage, the hour, is all the muhurtam is according to the auspicious days as per the Hindu calendar. So Tanappa is saying that there are only 3 more auspicious days in this season. The girl would be 17 in a few days. The reminders from her grandfather were becoming fiercer. Ramanujam had exhausted all the possibilities and had drawn a blank everywhere. He looked helpless and miserable. Postman, he said, I don't think there is a son-in-law for me anywhere. Oh, don't utter inauspicious words, sir, the postman said. When God wills it, he reflected for a while and said, there is a boy in Delhi earning 2,200 rupees. Makunda of Temple Street was after him. Makunda and you are of the same subcaste, I believe. Yes, they have been negotiating for months now. Over 100 letters have passed between them already. But I know they are definitely breaking off. It is over some money question. They have written their last message on a postcard and it has infuriated those people all the more. As if postcards were an instrument of insult. I have known most important communications being written even on picture postcards. When Ramanujam went to America 2 years ago, he used to write to his sons every week on picture postcards. This postcard, in India we used to have postcard, which would be a simple card. You write your letter on one side and on the other side you write the address of the person. It has got the postage franked on it and that card will be delivered and anybody who holds it can read the communication. And another type of communication was the inland letter where there is a page on which you write and then you fold it again and then seal it so somebody cannot read what is the message inside. Then you write the address on the outside. Then there is the envelope where you write it on a plain sheet of paper, fold it, put it into an envelope, close and seal it, and write the address on the envelope. So nobody knows what is contained inside the envelope. So this postcard is a lowest level of a letter, and some people consider it an insult to be informed on a postcard which so many people would have read. They have been negotiating for months now. Over 100 letters have passed between them already. But I know they are definitely breaking off. It is over some money question. They have written their last message on a postcard, and it has infuriated the people all the more, as if postcards were an instrument of insult. I have known most important communications being written even on postcards. When Ramanujam went to America 2 years ago, he used to write to his sons on picture postcards. After this digression, he came back to the point. I'll ask Makunda to give me the horoscope. Let us see. Next day, he brought the horoscope with him. The boy's parents are also in Delhi, so you can write to them immediately. No time to waste now. A ray of hope touched Ramanujan's family. I have still 100 letters to deliver, but I came here first because I saw the Delhi postmark. Open it and tell me what they have written, said Tanapa. He trembled with suspense. How prompt these people are. So they approve of the photo. Who wouldn't? A letter every day. I might as well apply for leave till Kamakshi's marriage is over. He said another day. You are already talking as if it was coming off tomorrow. God knows how many hurdles we have to cross. Now, liking a photo does not prove anything. The family council was discussing an important question, whether Ramanujam should go to Madras, taking the girl with him and meet the party, who could come down for a day from Delhi. The family was divided over the question. Ramanujam, his mother, and his wife. None of them had defined views on the question, but yet they opposed each other vehemently. We shall be laughing stock of the town, said Ramanujam's wife, if we take the girl out to be shown around. What queer notions! If you stand on these absurd and antiquated formalities, we shall never get anywhere near a marriage. It is our duty to take the girl over even to Delhi if necessary. It is your pleasure, then you can do what you please. Why consult me? The wife was piqued. Tempers were at their worst, and no progress seemed possible. The postman had got into the habit of dropping in at the end of his day's work and joining in the council. I am a third party. Listen to me, he said. Sir, please take the train to Madras immediately. When you cannot achieve by a year's what you cannot achieve by a year's correspondence, you can do in an hour's meeting. Here is a letter from Madras. Madam, I am sure it is from your husband. What is the news? He handed the envelope to Ramanujam's wife. So obviously Ramanujam has gone to Madras and he has written from Madras, and Tanapa has brought the letter to the wife. What has your husband written? He handed the letter to her and she took it and read. He said, I have some registered letters for the last houses. I'll finish my round and come back. He returned as promised. Have they met, madam? Yes, Kamakshi's father has written that they have met the girl, and from their talk, Kamakshi's father infers they are quite willing. Grand news, I will offer a coconut to our Vinayakar tonight, said the postman. But the lady added, half overwhelmed with happiness and half worried. There is a little difficulty. We had an idea of doing it during next Thai Masam, Thai month. It will be so difficult to hurry through the arrangements now. But they say that if the marriage is done, it must be done on the 20th of May. If it is postponed, the boy can't marry for 3 years. He is being sent away for something. The old gentleman is as good as his word, the postman said, delivering an insurance envelope to Ramanujan. He has given the entire amount. You can't complain of lack of funds now. Go ahead. I am so happy you have his approval. More than their money, we need their blessings, sir. I hope he has sent his heartiest blessings. Oh, yes, yes, said Ramanujan. My father-in-law seems to be very happy at the proposal. So they have progressed, and the Ramanujan has needed money. He has asked for money from his father-in-law, and he has got the money. A 5,000 rupee marriage was a big affair for Malgudi. Ramanujan, with so short a time before him and none to share the task of arrangement, became distraught. Tanapa placed himself at his service during all his off hours. Whenever he was off duty, he was at the service of Ramanujan. He cut short his eloquence, advice, and exchanges in other houses. He never waited for anyone to come up and receive the letters. He he just tossed them through the window or an open door. Yeah. With a stentorian, letter, sir. If they stopped him and asked, what is the matter with you? In such a hurry? He said, yes, just leave me alone till the 20th of May. I'll come and squat in your house after that. And he was off. Ramanujan was in great tension. He trembled with anxiety as the day approached nearer. It must go on smoothly. Nothing should prove a hindrance. Do not worry, sir. It will go through happily. By God's grace, you have given them everything they wanted in cash, presents, and style. They are good people. It is not about that. It is the very last date for the year. If for some reason some obstruction comes up, it is all finished forever. The boy goes away for 3 years. I don't think either of us would be prepared to bind ourselves to wait for 3 years. It was 4 hours past the muhurtam on the day of the wedding. A quiet had descended on the gathering. The young smart bridegroom from Delhi was seated in a chair under the pandal. Fragrance of sandal and flowers and holy smoke hung about the air. People were sitting around the bridegroom talking. Tanapa appeared at the gate, loaded with letters. Some young men ran up to him demanding, postman, postman, letters. He held them off. Get back. I know to whom the letter is to be delivered. He walked over to the bridegroom and held up to him a bundle of letters very respectfully. These are all greetings and blessings from well-wishers. I believe, sir, and my own go with every one of them. He seemed very proud of performing this task and looked very serious. The bridegroom looked up at him with an amused smile and muttered, thanks. We are all very proud to have your distinguished self as a son-in-law of this house. I have known this child, Kamakshi, ever since she was a day old, and I always knew she would get a distinguished husband, added the postman, and brought his palms together in a salute, and moved into the house to deliver the other letters to refresh himself in the kitchen with tiffin and coffee. 10 days later, he knocked on the door and with a grin handed Kamakshi her first letter. Ah, scented envelope. I knew it was coming when the mailman was 3 stations away. I have seen hundreds like this. Take it from me, before he has written the 10th letter, he will command you to pack up and join him, and you will grow a couple of wings and fly away that very day, and forget forever Thanapa and his street. Isn't it so? Kamakshi blushed, snatched the letter from his hands, and ran in to read it. He said, turning away, I don't think there is any use waiting for you to finish the letter. Only tell me its contents. On a holiday, when he was sure Ramanujam would be at home, Tanapa knocked on the door and handed him a card. Ah, cried Ramanujam. Bad news. Tanapa, my uncle, my father's brother, is very ill in Salem, and they want me to start immediately. Oh, I'm very sorry to hear it, sir, said Tanapa, and handed him a telegram. Here is another. Ramanujam cried, a telegram. He glanced at it and screamed, Oh, he is dead. He sat down on the payol, unable to stand the shock. Tanapa looked equally miserable. Ramanujam rallied, gathered himself up, and turned to go in. Tanapa said, One moment, sir, I have a confession to make. See the date on the card. May the 19th, nearly 15 days ago. Yes, sir, and the telegram followed the next day, that is, on the day of the marriage. I was unhappy to see it, but what has happened, I said to myself, and kept it away, fearing that it might interfere with the wedding. Ramanujam glared at the postman and said, I would not have cared to go through the marriage when he was dying. The postman stood with bowed head and mumbled, You can complain if you like, sir. They will dismiss me. It is a serious offense. He turned and descended the steps and went down the street on his rounds. Ramanujam watched him duly for a while and shouted, Postman, Tanapa. Tanapa turned round. Ramanujam cried, Don't think that I intend to complain. I am only sorry you have done this. I understand your feelings, sir, replied the postman, disappearing around a bend. Very nice postman. He got a card from the house saying that the uncle was seriously ill, and he did not deliver it to the house. And on the day of the marriage, he received a telegram saying that the man had died. He did not give it. He held it for 10 days, and then he delivered it to Ramanujam, so that Ramanujam could celebrate his daughter's wedding with equanimity of mind and not be disturbed by our relative's death. That was very nice of him, but it is against the rule, and so the department may take action against him and punish him. But Ramanujam says, Don't worry, I won't complain, because he is happy that this happened and his daughter's marriage was celebrated properly. So that's the end of that story. We'll take up another story on another occasion. Thank you. Bye-bye.